everyone. Welcome back to Emma's Talk.
Hello, hello. It's me, Harry again.
Harry, let me ask you something. Have you ever had a small problem with someone just because of a misunderstanding?
Oh, all the time. Just last week, I misunderstood a message from my friend and I got upset for no real reason.
See? This happens to everyone. And today, we talk about exactly this: communication.
Such an important topic. Really, one of the most important topics in life.
Why do so many problems happen just because people don't communicate well?
And more importantly, how can we communicate better? At work, at home, with friends, with everyone.
Yes, we will give real examples, real tips, and things you can use starting today.
So stay with us until the end because this is a long, deep conversation full of useful ideas.
A lot to cover, so get comfortable and let's start.
Let's go.
Okay, Harry, let's start simple. What is communication exactly?
Good question. Communication is when we share information, feelings, or ideas with another person.
So it's not just talking?
No, not only talking. It's also listening, writing, and even body language.
Body language too? Interesting.
Yes, a smile, a nod, even silence. These are all forms of communication.
Wow, I never thought about silence as communication.
It really is. Silence can say, I'm thinking, or I'm upset, or even I don't agree.
That's fascinating. So communication is much bigger than just words.
Exactly. Let's repeat this idea. Communication is bigger than words.
Communication is bigger than words.
And this is why communication is sometimes difficult, even between people who speak the same language.
True. Two people can speak perfect English and still misunderstand each other completely.
Exactly, because real communication isn't just about words, it's about understanding.
Communication is about understanding. Let's repeat that too.
Communication is about understanding.
Harry, can you think of a moment when you communicated really well with someone and it made a big difference?
Yes, actually. Once my coworker and I had a disagreement about a project, but instead of staying angry, we sat down and talked honestly.
What happened?
We realized we actually wanted the same thing, we just explained it in different ways.
That's such a common situation. Same goal, different words.
Exactly. And once we talked clearly, the problem disappeared almost instantly.
This shows the real power of communication. It can solve problems that seem very big.
It really can. And that's exactly why we're spending this whole episode on it.
Harry, let's go a little deeper. Why do humans need communication so much? Why is it built into us?
Great question. Humans are social beings. We live in groups, families, communities.
And groups need communication to survive, right?
Exactly. Thousands of years ago, humans needed to work together, to hunt, to build shelter, to stay safe.
And without communication, that teamwork wouldn't be possible.
Right. So communication isn't just a nice skill. It's actually a survival skill, built deep into who we are.
Communication is a survival skill. Let's repeat that.
Communication is a survival skill.
And today, even though we don't hunt animals together anymore, we still need each other, just in different ways.
Exactly. At work, in relationships, in friendships, we still need to cooperate, and communication makes that possible.
It's amazing how something so old is still so important today.
It really is. Some things about human nature just don't change.
Harry, do you think communication also affects our happiness, not just survival?
Absolutely, yes. Studies show that people with strong relationships built on good communication are generally happier.
That makes sense. Feeling understood is such a comforting feeling.
It really is. Feeling heard and feeling understood, these are basic human needs.
Feeling heard is a basic human need. Let's repeat that.
Feeling heard is a basic human need.
This already shows us why today's topic matters so much in every part of life. So let's start breaking it down piece by piece, beginning with the different types of communication.
Great idea. Let's go through the main types.
Type 1, verbal communication. This means speaking, using words.
The most obvious type, right?
Yes, exactly. Talking face-to-face or on the phone.
Type 2, written communication.
Emails, messages, letters. True, this is huge today, with so much texting and messaging.
Type 3, nonverbal communication. Body language, facial expressions, gestures.
We mentioned this a little already. It's such a big part of how we express ourselves.
Type 4, listening. Many people forget that listening is actually a form of communication too.
That's such a good point. Communication isn't only about sending a message, it's also about receiving one.
Exactly. A conversation needs both sides, speaking and listening.
Conversation needs both sides. Let's repeat that.
Conversation needs both sides.
Harry, out of these 4 types, which one do you think people struggle with the most?
Honestly, I think listening. People are often thinking about what they will say next instead of really listening.
Oh, I do this too sometimes. I'm already planning my answer while the other person is still talking.
Haha, most people do this. It's a very common habit.
But it means we miss important information, right?
Exactly. And the other person can usually tell when we're not really listening.
This is such an important point. Let's actually spend a whole section on listening later in this episode because I think it deserves real attention.
Great idea. But first, let's talk about something that happens to everyone: miscommunication.
Okay, Harry, let's talk about miscommunication. This word means when communication goes wrong, right?
Exactly. When the message we send isn't the message the other person receives.
This happens so often. Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine you send a short text message, like, "We need to talk."
Oh no, that message sounds scary already.
Ha, exactly. Even though maybe you just wanted to talk about weekend plans.
But the other person might think something bad happened.
Right. And they spend the whole day worried for no real reason.
This shows how a few words without the right tone can create a completely wrong impression.
Exactly. Let's repeat that idea. Words without tone can create the wrong impression.
Words without tone can create the wrong impression.
And this is especially true in written communication, where we can't hear the person's voice or see their face.
True. So much meaning comes from tone of voice and facial expression, not just words.
Exactly. This is one of the biggest reasons why texting and messaging can create so many misunderstandings.
I definitely have stories about this. Have you ever sent a message that sounded rude, but you didn't mean it that way?
Oh, many times. Sometimes a short reply like, "Okay," can sound cold, even if I just meant it simply.
Ha, okay can really sound like someone is angry sometimes.
It really can, even though there was no bad intention at all.
This is such a useful lesson. We need to be a little more careful and thoughtful with our words.
Especially in writing, since there's no tone of voice to help explain our meaning.
So, what can we do to avoid these kinds of misunderstandings?
Good question. Let's dig into some real practical tools that help us communicate more clearly.
Okay, Harry, let's talk about clear communication. What makes a message clear?
I think first, simplicity. Using simple, direct words instead of complicated ones.
True. Sometimes people use very complicated language just to sound smart, but it actually confuses people.
Exactly. Simple words are usually stronger and clearer.
Simple words are stronger and clearer. Let's repeat that.
Simple words are stronger and clearer.
What else helps make communication clear?
Being specific instead of vague. For example, instead of saying soon, say at 5 o'clock.
Oh, that's such a useful example. Soon can mean so many different things to different people.
Exactly. For me, soon might mean 10 minutes. For someone else, it might mean 2 hours.
This really explains so many arguments about being late.
It really does. Specific words prevent a lot of confusion.
Specific words prevent confusion. Let's repeat.
Specific words prevent confusion.
What about tone, Harry? How does tone affect clear communication?
Tone is huge. The same word said in a different tone can mean completely different things.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine saying, "That's interesting," in a warm, curious tone.
That sounds positive.
Right. Now imagine saying the exact same words, but flat and a little sarcastic.
Oh, that sounds completely different, almost negative.
Exactly. Same words, totally different meaning, just because of tone.
This shows that communication is not only what we say, but how we say it.
Not only what we say, but how we say it. Let's repeat that important phrase.
Not only what we say, but how we say it.
This connects perfectly to our next topic, actually, listening. Because clear communication also depends on how well we listen, not just how well we speak.
Okay, Harry, let's talk about listening now, like we promised earlier.
Great. This is one of my favorite parts of communication, honestly.
What is active listening exactly? I hear this phrase a lot.
Active listening means really focusing on the other person, not just hearing words, but understanding them.
So it's different from just hearing?
Very different. Hearing is passive. Active listening is a real effort.
What does active listening actually look like in practice?
A few things. First, giving your full attention, without distractions like your phone.
Oh, this is so important. I hate when someone talks to me but keeps checking their phone.
Exactly. It makes the other person feel unimportant, even if that's not the intention.
Give full attention. Let's repeat that.
Give full attention.
What else is part of active listening?
Making eye contact and using small responses like I see or nodding your head.
These small responses show the person, I'm really listening to you.
Exactly. They're small, but they make a huge difference.
Small responses make a huge difference. Let's repeat.
Small responses make a huge difference.
What about repeating back what someone said? Is that part of active listening too?
Yes, this is actually a very powerful technique. It's called reflecting.
Reflecting? Tell me more.
For example, if someone says, I had a really stressful day at work, you might say, that sounds really difficult. What happened?
Oh, this shows you're really listening and you care.
Exactly. It also helps avoid misunderstandings because you confirm what you understood.
Reflecting confirms understanding. Let's repeat that.
Reflecting confirms understanding.
Harry, do you think active listening is a skill people are born with or something we can learn?
Definitely something we can learn and practice like any other skill.
That's encouraging. So even if we're not naturally good listeners, we can improve.
Absolutely. Just like learning English, actually. Practice makes progress.
Practice makes progress. I love that. Now, let's move on and talk about communication in a very specific and very important place, the workplace.
Great topic. Communication at work is so important for so many reasons.
Why do you think it's especially important at work?
Because teamwork depends on it. Projects, deadlines, decisions, all of this needs clear communication.
True. What happens when communication at work is poor?
Oh, so many problems. Missed deadlines, confusion, even conflicts between coworkers.
I've experienced this. Once I misunderstood instructions from my manager and I did the wrong task completely.
Oh no, what happened?
I felt so embarrassed, but it taught me an important lesson. Always ask questions if something isn't clear.
That's such good advice. Asking questions isn't a weakness, it's actually a strength.
Asking questions is a strength. Let's repeat that.
Asking questions is a strength.
What are some good communication habits specifically for the workplace?
I think first, being clear and direct, but still polite.
Direct but polite. That's a nice balance.
Exactly. For example, instead of saying nothing when you disagree, calmly share your opinion with respect.
What about emails? Any specific tips for workplace emails?
Yes, keep them short and clear. Busy coworkers appreciate emails that get straight to the point.
Good tip. What about giving feedback to coworkers? This can be tricky, right?
Very tricky. I think the key is focusing on the situation, not attacking the person.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Instead of saying, you always make mistakes, you could say, I noticed a small error here. Let's fix it together.
Oh, that feels so much kinder and more helpful.
Exactly. Same message, but delivered in a way that doesn't hurt the other person.
Same message delivered kindly. Let's repeat that.
Same message delivered kindly.
This really shows how communication skills can completely change our work relationships. Now, let's move to another huge area of life, communication in personal relationships and families.
Oh, this is such a rich topic. Relationships really live or die based on communication.
That's such a strong way to put it, but I think it's true.
It really is. Think about it. Most relationship problems come down to communication, one way or another.
Give us an example, Harry.
Imagine a couple. One person is upset but doesn't say anything, hoping the other person will just understand.
Oh, this happens so often, expecting someone to read your mind.
Exactly. But nobody can truly read minds. Without clear communication, the other person has no idea there's a problem.
This creates distance, even when nobody actually wants that.
Exactly. Silence in this case doesn't protect the relationship. It actually damages it.
Silence can damage relationships more than honest words. Let's repeat that.
Silence can damage relationships more than honest words.
What about families, Harry? Parents and children, for example.
This is so important too. Children need to feel like they can talk to their parents openly without fear.
And parents need to actually listen, not just talk or give instructions.
Exactly. A two-way conversation, not just one person speaking down to the other.
Two-way conversation, not one-way instruction. I like that distinction.
It really matters. And this builds trust over time in the family.
What about disagreements in families? How can communication help there?
I think staying calm and using I statements instead of blaming.
I statements? What does that mean exactly?
Instead of saying, you never listened to me, you could say, I feel unheard when this happens.
Oh, that's such a big difference. It feels less like an attack.
Exactly. It opens the conversation instead of closing it.
I statements open conversations. Let's repeat that.
I statements open conversations.
This is such useful advice for every kind of relationship, really, not just romantic ones. Now, let's take a short break from the serious talk and remind our listeners about something important.
By the way, if you are learning something new today, please give this video a like.
Yes, and subscribe too. It really helps our channel grow.
And it helps you too, because you get more videos like this every week, full of useful English and useful life lessons.
2 things for the price of 1.
Exactly. Okay, let's continue our conversation about communication.
Emma, let's go back to something we touched on earlier, nonverbal communication. I think this deserves its own deep conversation.
Yes, definitely. This is often called the silent language, right?
Exactly, because we're communicating even without saying a single word.
Let's give examples. What counts as nonverbal communication?
Facial expressions, first of all, a smile, a frown, raised eyebrows.
These say so much without any words at all.
Exactly. And body posture too. Standing tall shows confidence. Slouching can show tiredness or low energy.
What about hand gestures?
Very important too. Though, interestingly, gestures can mean different things in different countries.
Oh, that's true. A gesture that's polite in one country might be rude in another.
Exactly. So it's worth being a little careful, especially when talking with people from different cultures.
What about eye contact? We've talked about this before, but it fits here too.
Yes, eye contact shows attention and confidence in many cultures, though not all, as we discussed before.
And personal space? This is nonverbal too, right?
Definitely. How close or far we stand from someone sends a message too.
This shows just how much communication happens without any words.
It really does. Some experts even say nonverbal communication can be more powerful than words themselves.
More powerful than words. Let's repeat that.
More powerful than words.
What happens when our words and our body language don't match?
Good question. This is called mixed signals, and it can be really confusing for the other person.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine someone says, "I'm fine," but their face looks sad and their voice is quiet.
Oh, in that case, most people would trust the body language, not the words.
Exactly, because body language is often harder to fake than words.
Body language is harder to fake than words. Let's repeat that too.
Body language is harder to fake than words.
This is such a fascinating part of communication. Now let's talk about something a little different. How communication changes in the digital world with texting and social media.
Oh, this is such a relevant topic today. So much of our communication now happens through screens.
True. Texting, messaging apps, social media, video calls.
And each of these has its own challenges, right?
Definitely. Let's start with texting. What problems can happen there?
We already mentioned tone being hard to understand in text. Also, short replies can seem cold, even without bad intention.
What about emojis? Do they help?
Actually, yes, emojis can help show tone and emotion that words alone might miss.
That's true. A simple smiley face can completely change how a message feels.
Exactly. Though, of course, too many emojis can also be confusing or seem unprofessional depending on the situation.
Right. Context matters. A funny emoji with a friend is different from an emoji in a work email.
Exactly. Context matters. Let's repeat that.
Context matters.
What about social media? How does that affect communication?
I think social media can create a strange kind of communication. We share a lot, but often not very deeply.
True. Lots of likes and comments, but not always real, meaningful conversation.
Exactly. It's important to remember real relationships still need real conversations, not just online interactions.
Real relationships need real conversations. Let's repeat that important reminder.
Real relationships need real conversations.
What about video calls, Emma? Do you think they're a good replacement for in-person communication?
I think they're a wonderful tool, especially for people far away, but they're not quite the same as being together in person.
Why do you think that is?
I think some of the small nonverbal signals we talked about are harder to notice through a screen.
True. And sometimes technical problems like bad internet interrupt the natural flow of conversation.
Still, video calls are so much better than nothing, especially for family and friends who live far away.
Absolutely. Every tool has its strengths and its limits.
Every tool has its strengths and its limits. Nicely said.
Now, let's talk about something that happens to everyone, conflict, and how communication helps us solve it.
Okay, Harry, let's talk about conflict. This is such an important and difficult topic.
It really is. Nobody enjoys conflict, but it happens in every relationship, every workplace, every family.
True. So how can good communication help during conflict?
First, staying calm. This sounds simple, but it's actually very hard in the moment.
Definitely. When we're upset, it's so easy to raise our voice or say something we don't mean.
Exactly. A good tip is to pause and take a breath before responding.
Pause before responding. Let's repeat that.
Pause before responding.
What else helps during conflict?
Listening to understand, not just to reply. We talked about this earlier with active listening.
Right. This applies especially during conflict when emotions are high.
Exactly. It's tempting to plan our defense while the other person is still talking.
But that means we're not really hearing them.
Right. And this usually makes the conflict worse, not better.
What about apologizing? Is this part of good communication too?
Absolutely. A genuine apology when needed can heal a conflict very quickly.
What makes an apology genuine though?
I think taking real responsibility without excuses, saying, I was wrong instead of, I'm sorry, but.
Oh, that little word but really changes everything, doesn't it?
It really does. It often cancels out the apology completely.
A real apology doesn't need but. Let's repeat that.
A real apology doesn't need but.
What about compromise, Harry? Does communication help us find compromise?
Definitely. Good communication helps both people express their needs clearly, so a fair solution can be found.
Without clear communication, how would we even know what the other person needs?
Exactly. We'd just be guessing, and guessing often leads to more misunderstanding.
This shows once again how central communication is to solving almost any problem between people.
It really is the foundation for everything. Now, let's talk about something a little different: public speaking and communicating in front of groups.
Harry, public speaking is something a lot of people find really scary. Why do you think that is?
I think it's the fear of judgment. Standing in front of people and being watched closely feels very vulnerable.
True. I get nervous just thinking about it.
Most people do, actually. It's one of the most common fears all around the world.
What can help someone communicate better in front of a group?
First, preparation. Knowing your topic well reduces a lot of nervousness.
We mentioned this idea before too, in a different context.
True. Preparation really does build confidence everywhere in life.
Preparation builds confidence. Let's repeat that since it's such an important idea.
Preparation builds confidence.
What about speaking slowly? Does that help in public speaking too?
Definitely. Nervous speakers often talk too fast, and it becomes hard for the audience to follow.
This is exactly why we speak slowly on this channel too. Exactly. Practicing what we preach again. What about eye contact with an audience? Is that different from one-on-one conversation?
A little different. With a group, it helps to look around the room, making eye contact with different people, not just one spot.
That makes the whole audience feel included.
Exactly. And pausing between important points gives the audience time to think and helps you feel calmer too.
Pausing helps everyone. Let's repeat that.
Pausing helps everyone.
What's your best advice, Harry, for someone who feels very nervous about public speaking?
I would say start small. Practice speaking up in smaller groups first before big audiences.
Building confidence slowly, step by step.
Exactly. Nobody becomes a great public speaker overnight. It's a skill built through practice, just like everything else we've talked about today.
This connects so well to our next topic, actually, how communication connects deeply to self-confidence in general.
Emma, do you think confidence helps communication, or does communication build confidence? Or maybe both?
Oh, I think it's definitely both, actually. They feed each other in a circle.
Tell me more about that.
Well, when we feel confident, we communicate more clearly and directly.
True. And when we communicate well and people respond positively, we feel more confident too.
Exactly. It's a positive circle once it gets started.
A positive circle. I like that image. Let's repeat that.
A positive circle.
What about the opposite, Emma? Can poor communication hurt someone's confidence?
Definitely, yes. If someone struggles to express themselves and feels misunderstood often, it can really hurt their self-esteem over time.
That's such an important point, and honestly, quite sad to think about.
It really is. This is exactly why practicing communication skills matters so much for our overall well-being, not just our relationships.
Communication skills affect our overall well-being. Let's repeat that.
Communication skills affect our overall well-being.
For our listeners specifically, learning English, do you think this connects to confidence too?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is actually one of the biggest reasons people learn a new language.
Tell us more about that.
When you can communicate clearly in a new language, you feel capable and connected to more people in the world.
That's such a beautiful way to think about language learning.
It's not just about grammar and vocabulary. It's about connection and confidence.
Language learning is about connection and confidence.
Let's repeat that, especially for our listeners today.
Language learning is about connection and confidence.
I think this is such an encouraging message for everyone watching this video right now, learning English with us.
Definitely. Every conversation you practice, even here with us, builds your confidence little by little.
Okay, Emma, let's put together a list now. What are some common mistakes people make when communicating?
Great idea. Mistake number 1, interrupting.
Oh, this is such a common one. Jumping in before the other person finishes speaking.
Why is this a problem?
It shows we're not really listening, and it can feel disrespectful to the other person.
Mistake number 2, not asking questions.
Right. We talked about this earlier with work communication, but it applies everywhere.
Silence when confused often creates more problems later.
Exactly. Mistake number 3, using vague language.
We mentioned this too, right? Words like soon or maybe instead of clear, specific words.
Exactly. This creates confusion and sometimes frustration for the other person.
Mistake number 4, ignoring body language.
Yes, forgetting that our face and our posture are communicating too, even when we're silent.
True, sometimes our words say one thing, but our body says another.
Mistake number 5, not listening actively.
We spent a whole section on this earlier, but it's worth repeating here because it's such a common mistake.
Exactly. Thinking about our reply instead of really hearing the other person.
Mistake number 6, avoiding difficult conversations.
Oh, this is such a common one too. Staying silent, hoping a problem will just disappear on its own.
But usually, problems grow bigger when we avoid talking about them.
Exactly. Avoided conversations often become bigger problems.
Avoided conversations become bigger problems. Let's repeat that.
Avoided conversations become bigger problems.
This is such a useful list, Harry. Now let's flip this around and build a positive list instead. Real practical tips for better communication.
Great idea. Let's go through them one by one.
Tip 1. Listen more than you speak.
Yes, we've talked about this a lot today, but it deserves to be tip number 1.
Tip 2. Be clear and specific.
Right, avoiding vague words and saying exactly what you mean.
Tip 3. Pay attention to your tone, not just your words.
True, remembering that how we say something matters just as much as what we say.
Tip 4. Ask questions when something isn't clear.
Yes, asking questions is a strength, not a weakness, as we said earlier.
Tip 5. Watch your body language and the other person's too.
Right, remembering that communication is more than words alone.
Tip 6. Pause before responding, especially during conflict.
Yes, giving yourself time to think instead of reacting immediately.
Tip 7. Use I statements instead of blaming language.
We talked about this in the relationship section. Such a powerful, simple tool.
Tip 8. Be patient with yourself, especially if you're communicating in a new language.
Oh, this one is so important for our listeners specifically.
Communication skills take time to build in any language, even your first one.
True, nobody becomes a perfect communicator overnight.
Tip 9. Practice regularly. Real conversations, not just studying alone.
Yes, real practice with real people builds real confidence.
Real practice with real people builds real confidence. Let's repeat that.
Real practice with real people builds real confidence.
Let's repeat all our tips together now, quickly.
Okay, 1. Listen more than you speak.
2. Be clear and specific.
3. Pay attention to your tone.
4. Ask questions when unclear.
5. Watch your body language.
6. Pause before responding.
7. Use I statements.
8. Be patient with yourself.
9. Practice regularly.
9 powerful, simple tips.
Simple, but so effective when practiced consistently.
Simple but effective when practiced consistently. Let's repeat that.
Simple, but effective when practiced consistently.
Now, let's do something a little different. Let's actually practice a short example conversation together using some of these tips.
Oh, I love this idea. Let's do a little role play showing good communication in action.
Okay, let's imagine 2 friends. One friend feels a little hurt because the other forgot their birthday.
Okay, I'll be the friend who forgot. You be the friend who feels hurt.
Ready? Hey, can we talk for a minute? I felt a little hurt that you forgot my birthday.
Oh, I'm really sorry. You're right. I completely forgot, and that wasn't fair to you. I've just been really busy, but that's not an excuse.
Thank you for saying that. It really means a lot to me.
I understand why you felt hurt. Can I make it up to you this weekend?
That sounds really nice. Thank you for listening and for being honest.
Okay, let's stop the role play there. Emma, what did you notice from a communication perspective?
So many good things. A calm I statement at the start, a genuine apology without excuses, and real listening on both sides.
Exactly. No blaming, no defensiveness, just honest, calm communication.
This little example really shows how a difficult conversation can go smoothly with the right approach.
It really does. And notice the conflict didn't disappear because it was ignored. It disappeared because it was communicated clearly and kindly.
Communicated clearly and kindly. Let's repeat that final powerful phrase.
communicated clearly and kindly.
This role play really brought together so many of the ideas from today's episode. Now, before we wrap up, let's turn to our listeners with a few questions to think about.
Emma, before we get to the questions and the final list, I want to talk about something really useful: communication styles. Have you heard of this idea?
A little, yes. There are different styles people naturally use, right?
Exactly. Experts usually talk about 4 main styles. Let's go through them.
Style 1.
Passive communication. This means someone avoids sharing their real feelings or needs to avoid conflict.
Oh, I know people like this. They say, it's fine, even when it's really not fine.
Exactly. And over time, this can build up frustration because their real feelings never get expressed.
That sounds exhausting, honestly, holding everything inside.
It really is. Style 2. Aggressive communication.
I can guess this one. Very direct, maybe too direct?
Exactly. This style expresses feelings and needs, but often in a way that ignores the other person's feelings.
Like shouting or blaming or not really caring how the other person feels?
Right. It gets the message across, but often damages the relationship in the process.
What's style 3?
Passive-aggressive communication. This is an interesting and tricky one.
Oh, I've heard this term before. What does it actually mean?
It means someone seems calm on the surface, but expresses anger indirectly, maybe through sarcasm or silence or small comments.
Oh, like saying, no, it's totally fine, with a tone that clearly means the opposite.
Exactly. Or doing something like slamming a door quietly, if that makes sense.
I know exactly what you mean. It's confusing because the words say one thing, but the feeling says another.
Right. And this can be really hard for the other person to understand or respond to.
What's the 4th style, Harry? I have a feeling this one is the goal.
You're right. Style 4, assertive communication.
Tell us about this one since it sounds like the healthiest option.
It really is, in most situations. Assertive communication means expressing your feelings and needs honestly, but with respect for the other person too.
So it's like a balance between passive and aggressive.
Exactly. Not staying silent, but also not attacking. Just calm, honest, and respectful.
Assertive communication is calm, honest, and respectful. Let's repeat that.
Assertive communication is calm, honest, and respectful.
Can you give us an example of assertive communication, Harry?
Sure. Instead of staying silent about a problem or shouting about it, you might say, I feel frustrated about this situation, and I'd like to talk about it calmly.
That really does feel like the best of both worlds. Honest, but still kind.
Exactly. And the good news is, this is a skill anyone can learn, even if their natural style is passive or passive-aggressive.
That's such encouraging news. So how can someone start practicing assertive communication?
I think starting small. Practicing saying your true feelings calmly in low-stakes situations first.
Like ordering the wrong food at a restaurant and simply saying, actually, this isn't what I ordered, instead of staying quiet.
Perfect example. Small moments like that build the muscle for bigger conversations later.
Building the muscle for assertive communication. I like that image.
It really works like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes.
This connects so well to something else I wanted to bring up, actually. How communication styles can be different depending on the culture we grew up in.
Oh, great connection, Emma. This is such an important part of the conversation, especially for our international audience.
Exactly, since our listeners come from so many different countries.
Let's start with directness. Some cultures value very direct communication.
Like where, for example?
Countries like Germany or the Netherlands are often known for direct, straightforward communication.
And other cultures?
In many Asian cultures, communication tends to be more indirect to protect harmony and avoid embarrassing anyone.
So the same honest message might be delivered very differently depending on where you are.
Exactly. And this can create real misunderstandings when people from different cultural backgrounds work or live together.
Can you give an example of this kind of misunderstanding?
Sure. Imagine someone from a very direct culture says, "This idea won't work," very plainly in a meeting.
And someone from a more indirect culture might find that very harsh or even rude.
Exactly, even though the direct person didn't mean any disrespect at all.
And on the other side, someone from an indirect culture might say something softly like, maybe we could consider other options too.
And a very direct person might completely miss that this is actually a polite way of disagreeing.
Oh, that's such a perfect example. The same disagreement expressed so differently.
Exactly. Neither style is wrong, they're just different, shaped by different cultural values.
Neither style is wrong, just different.
Let's repeat that important idea.
Neither style is wrong, just different.
What about the concept of silence, Harry? Does that differ across cultures too?
Very much so. In some cultures, silence during conversation feels uncomfortable, and people try to fill it quickly.
And in other cultures?
In some cultures, like Japan or Finland, for example, silence is seen as comfortable, even respectful, a natural part of conversation.
That's so interesting. The same silence can feel awkward to one person and completely normal to another.
Exactly. This really shows why patience and curiosity are so valuable when communicating across cultures.
Patience and curiosity help us communicate across cultures. Let's repeat that.
Patience and curiosity help us communicate across cultures.
So, what's the practical takeaway here for our listeners who talk with people from different backgrounds?
I think simply staying open-minded and not assuming your own communication style is the correct or normal one.
Recognizing that different doesn't mean wrong.
Exactly. And if something feels confusing, it's always okay to ask, gently, for clarification.
Asking for clarification, our old friend from earlier in the episode.
Ha, exactly. It keeps coming back because it really is one of the most useful tools in any communication situation, in any culture, in any language.
This has been such a rich part of our conversation today. Now, before we wrap up, let's turn to our listeners with a few questions to think about.
Harry, before we move to our questions, I want to talk about one more angle: communication between generations. Parents, children, grandparents, young coworkers, older coworkers.
Oh, this is such a real topic. Every family and every workplace deals with this.
Why do you think older and younger generations sometimes struggle to communicate with each other?
I think partly different tools. Older generations often prefer phone calls or a face-to-face conversation.
And younger generations often prefer texting or messaging apps.
Exactly. So even before the conversation starts, there can be a mismatch just in the method.
That's such a good point. Imagine a grandmother waiting for a phone call while her grandchild sends a quick text instead.
This happens in so many families. Neither person is wrong. They just grew up with different habits.
Neither person is wrong, just different habits. This reminds me of what we said earlier about culture.
Exactly. It's very similar. Generational differences are almost like a small culture of their own.
Generational differences are like a small culture of their own. Let's repeat that.
Generational differences are like a small culture of their own.
What about the words themselves, Harry? Do generations sometimes use words differently?
Definitely, yes. New slang appears constantly, especially among younger people, and it can confuse older generations completely.
I've definitely seen parents completely confused by their children's slang online.
It goes both ways too. Sometimes younger people don't understand older expressions or references either.
So really, it's a two-way learning process, not just one generation adopting to the other.
Exactly. And I think patience really is the key word here again.
Patience keeps appearing today, doesn't it?
It really does. It seems to be at the center of almost every kind of good communication, everywhere.
What advice would you give someone trying to communicate better with a much older or a much younger family member?
I would say ask genuine questions about their world, instead of assuming you already understand it.
Genuine curiosity instead of assumptions.
Exactly. And also being willing to try their preferred way of communicating sometimes, even if it's not your natural style.
Like a grandchild making a real phone call sometimes instead of only texting.
Exactly. Or a grandparent trying to send a simple text message, even if it feels a little unfamiliar at first.
Small efforts like this really do show love and respect, don't they?
They really do. Small efforts show love and respect. Let's repeat that lovely idea to close this part.
Small efforts show love and respect.
This really brings together so much of what we've discussed today. Now, let's finally turn to our listeners with some questions to think about.
Okay, now it's your turn, dear listener.
Yes, let's ask some questions. Think about your own answers while you listen.
Question 1. Can you think of a time when a misunderstanding caused a real problem in your life?
What happened? And how was it solved, if it was solved?
Question 2. Are you usually a good listener, or do you find your mind wandering during conversations?
Be honest with yourself here.
Question 3. How do you usually communicate when you're upset? Calmly, or do you struggle to stay calm?
This is worth really thinking about.
Question 4. What is one communication habit you would like to improve?
Just one small habit, nothing too big.
Question 5. Do you feel more confident communicating in person, in writing, or on the phone?
Everyone has a different comfort zone here.
Question 6. How do you think learning English is helping your communication skills in general, not just in English?
This is such an interesting question, actually.
These questions really help us reflect on our own habits and maybe notice small changes we can make.
Exactly. Reflection is the first step toward real improvement.
Reflection is the first step toward real improvement. I love that line.
Let's repeat it slowly. Reflection is the first step toward real improvement.
Beautiful. Now, before we say goodbye, let's bring together everything we learned today one more time.
Great idea. Let's go slowly.
Number 1, communication is about understanding.
Communication is about understanding.
Number 2, conversation needs both sides.
Conversation needs both sides.
Number 3, specific words prevent confusion.
Specific words prevent confusion.
Number 4, not only what we say, but how we say it.
Not only what we say, but how we say it.
Number 5, give full attention.
Give full attention.
Number 6, asking questions is a strength.
Asking questions is a strength.
Number 7, I statements open conversations.
I statements open conversations.
Number 8, real relationships need real conversations.
Real relationships need real conversations.
Number 9, pause before responding.
Pause before responding.
Number 10, avoided conversations become bigger problems.
Avoided conversations become bigger problems.
Wonderful. Now you have 11 useful phrases and so many practical ideas from today's episode.
2 lessons in 1 video, as always, English and real life skills.
That's always a good deal. So, Harry, what is one communication habit you will try to improve after today?
Good question. I think I will try to listen more without planning my reply while the other person is still talking.
That's such a great goal.
What about you, Emma?
Me? I will try to use more I statements, especially during small disagreements.
I believe in you.
Thank you, Harry. And I believe in our listeners, too.
Yes, you don't need to change everything today.
Just one small step. That's enough.
One small step is enough.
Tell us in the comments, what is one communication habit you want to improve, starting today?
We really want to know. Write it below.
Maybe listening more, maybe speaking more clearly, maybe having a difficult conversation you've been avoiding.
Whatever it is, we support you.
Thank you so much for listening today and for practicing your English with us.
See you very soon with another interesting topic.
One conversation at a time, one step every day. Your English will grow naturally.
See you in our next real conversation.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.